Okay, hey. So I'm just gonna go over the Arcane Mage Tower. There's a lot of in-depth guides out there. I'm gonna try and cover everything important, but do something different and try and make it a little bit more concise. So for this, I didn't use any cheese gear or consumables, just Shadowlands raid gear and consumables. I used the Heart of Azeroth and the Legendary Cloak from BFA. If you have any of those, they're zero cost, zero effort ways of min-maxing. So talents, Amplification, but the first row doesn't really matter. Shimmer, Rune of Power, Resonance, Chrono Shift, Arcane Orb, and Overpowered. Shimmer's a lot better than Slipstream here, but other than that, they're just kind of standard Arcane talents for Kyrian or AoE. So there's three main mechanics that you need to worry about throughout the fight, plus each of the bosses have their own mechanic. But I'll explain everything as it comes up. So on pull, you want to set focus on the caster on the right, like instantly kick him. He's the only person you need to counter spell, so he's safe to focus. And then just stand on the mob on the left, and it gets everyone to stack up. You want to use everything on pull, including lust. There's no new phases at different health percentages or anything like that. You just want to do as much damage during the opener as you can. It's okay to take a lot of damage here. You'll get a healing orb fairly quickly. Just like milk as much damage as you can in the opener. So ideally on this fight, you never press missiles or barrage. Just explosion 4 times, barrage. The mobs share health. It gives you the most ability because you don't need to cast, and you have Chrono Shift. And it means you don't really need to care about your mana. The guy on the left enrages, but you don't really need to care about it if you're doing this because he's just always going to be outside melee range. So the first non-boss mechanic is the rune. This is where Shimmer is pretty useful. You want burst movement for mechanics like this. Prioritize soaking the smaller ones first, but as long as you never use Shimmer for kiting, you'll always be able to do this like pretty easily. So you're going to spend the majority of the fight just spamming Explosion and Barrage from outside melee range. You'll get clipped and you'll take some damage, but as long as you use Barrier and Leech Enchant, you'll be fine. So Sigrun's main mechanic is Blood of the Father. She does a cast. At the end of the cast, it gives her a buff. If she's not crowd controlled when she has the buff, she pulses a lot of AoE damage. So simple enough, you just polymorph her. If you polymorph her before the cast finishes, she doesn't get the buff and you can break her out instantly. What can happen here on this pull, you can see if you let the cast finish, she gets a buff and you kind of have to wait until it's done, till you can break her out. So the Runeseer's boss mechanic causes him to gain a shield and start casting. It's a classic, oh my god, you can't interrupt, just break the shield and you kick. It's fairly simple. If you're having trouble with this, you can see a rune and touch the Magi for it, but as you can see here, I'm quite far ahead on breaking the shield, so it's fine. The next non-boss ability is the Wall of Valkyr. Just point at the wall, there's a gap, stand in the gap. Then the Jarl's special ability is he casts a Blade Storm. The visual is fairly obvious. The most important thing, I guess, is just make sure he doesn't cast it in the middle of the room because it really restricts the amount of space you have. Blood of the Father, again, polymorph, but I kind of messed it up here and I lose a lot of damage because of it. If you can cancel the cast, it's really good because you can just keep explosioning and barraging, you can keep kiting, and you can get a lot of damage out. Both the shield and the Valkyr can be alter timed. They don't quite one-shot you, they do like 90-95% of your health. So if you know you're going to mess it up, you can either ice block or you can alter time and then just immediately reactivate alter time whenever the mechanic goes through. But other than that, the main thing is just like Explosion 4 times Barrage. Like Explosion 4 times Barrage, it's completely brain off, it gives you infinite mobility, it means you don't need to worry about mana, it just like lets you focus on the important stuff. You don't need to be worrying about like facing or trying to squeeze casts out or anything like that. Just like spam those spells, spam Explosion 4 times, Barrage, and just like focus on the mechanics. There is like a soft enrage on this fight. If you reach, I think, 6 minutes, they'll all cast their signature abilities at the same time. But if you're just spamming Explosion, you'll be fine. If you are struggling with the DPS check, the most important thing is probably to make sure that Sigrun doesn't clasp Blood of the Father so that you can keep AoEing.